First of all, I'm not a Hoosier. I'm from Show Me State, from Missouri. Grew in a little small town called Bernie, southeast part of Missouri. Lived there all my life. I've got one brother. He's about a year and a half younger than I am. I graduated from a high school, from Bernie High School. We had a graduating class of 42. So we were a very, very small school. The weather was a lot nicer than what it is up here northern. No, I love this area, and I've been here since '94. My first years was back in 1987. I went to a junior college at Southern Baptist College. It's in Walnut Ridge, Arkansas. Went there on a basketball scholarship. Played there for 2 years. And then at the conclusion of that, I was recruited by Evangel University out of Springfield, Missouri. And then traveled there and played my last 2 years there. In the process, I actually lost credits in my transfer, so I went the longer route. And then actually my 5th year there at school, I actually was the graduate assistant with the basketball program. This is year 27. When I first moved out here, I'm sure probably a lot of people probably don't know this, but I was an elementary assistant. I worked at the Lincoln Elementary at that time. Worked in 1st grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade. 5th grade was still over there at that point. They have not moved over to the middle school yet. In '95 is when I got my first teaching position. I basically took over the position for Linda McAdams. She was getting her librarian degree, and she moved over to the high school, and I just stepped into that position. Taught elementary PE between Lincoln Elementary and West Elementary for 7 years. And I've been here now at the middle school since 2001 in the position I'm in now. So, been here for a while. It's busy, and the only reason why I say that because my position is not only just the athletic director, but I'm also the assistant principal. Dealing with, and I think we all do this. I mean, every single day, you just never know what's going to happen. It always changes. On top of dealing with the different parts of the assistant principal spot, whether it's being in the classrooms, whether it's dealing with attendance, whether it's dealing with discipline, I got to make sure that I have on the other end of it, my athletic director spot of it, where I make sure that the schedules are correct, my workers are in place, my officials are here. A lot of times I think that's where I kind of get myself caught into the job with the athletic director spot, is when I am down an official or official calls in late so they can't make whatever else, then I'm scurrying around trying to find a replacement. That's probably the toughest part of my job. Being able to mingle with the kids, I guess interact with the kids or anything else, especially with, I'm not saying, I mean I played baseball and basketball in high school and middle school. But to be able to interact with the kids and see them to be successful in the field and also in the classroom, that's probably the bright spot where I can still have that connection with the kids on a daily basis. So it's always changing. It's always, you just never know what's going to happen the next day. When I first got into the position to be here at West Noble, I knew nothing about the background, knew nothing about the demographics. When I started working at the elementary, so I say primary, when I started working at the elementary, just how the kids just love on you. I think that they're always looking for that affection, and hopefully I kind of feel like almost like a father figure to most of the kids. It's neat when kids, if I get a good connection with someone else, that they're able to have they'll feel comfortable coming and talking to me, and they know I love to mess around. I think everybody says I'm a big kid at heart. I'd say this, we'll just mess around, whether we're tapping each other on the head or and just doing different things. But I think the kids enjoy that connection, that touch of love, I guess you call it. I mean, West Noble, it's red, white, and blue. I mean, if you don't believe that, then you're not a true Charger. And this is a great place. As far as my immediate family, again, as I mentioned earlier, I have a younger brother. He actually lives out in Missouri, actually around where my mom lives at. She's still alive and she lives out there. My dad passed away about 10 years ago, so he's not with us anymore. But growing up, they were a big part of my life, especially being involved in sports. I'd say my life was all around sports. So that's my out family. But as far as my extended family, my wife is Jennifer. We've been married now going on 29 years. We just talked about this the other day, so I do know that date. As far as children, I have 2 daughters. Mackenzie, she just graduated last December. She actually is teaching kindergarten out in Providence, Rhode Island at a charter school. By the way, if everyone wants to know, she actually is teaching 31 kindergartners in her class. So I'm sure she's having a good time with that. This is her first year. And then my youngest daughter, Christina, went to Grace last year, and now she's actually attending PFW. We're all in the education field. My oldest daughter's teaching, my youngest daughter's going in education, and actually my wife just took over the teaching spot for the pre-K class over at the primary. So we're all going through the education, so that's neat that we're all actually to be able to bounce ideas and thoughts off of each other. So yeah, it's a great family. Take it one day at a time. You just never know what's going to happen the next minute, next second. If you're looking too far ahead, sometimes that can catch you. Like I say, with the position here, I never know what's going to happen. And I think that's why I love the position so much. You can come in one day and everything be fine. We come in next day and we're short on subs, we're short on custodians. Like I said, I'm looking for officials. I mean, you just never know what's going to happen. And so, I mean, if you're looking too far ahead, I think sometimes you kind of get yourself bogged down, because there's going to be some tough days. And if you look too far ahead, I think that kind of just will drag you down further. But I always talk about as far as our kids here, I always say it's always kids first. That is our job here. Regardless of what position you're in, whether you're a custodian, whether you're a cook, whether you're an assistant, teacher, whoever, the kids come first, and that's got to be our line of thought. We got to make sure that they're safe, okay, they're cared for, and they're educated.